Afternoon. We're giving an update on the mulch fire that's been burning since August 25th in the area of Glades Cutoff Road and Range Line Roads. The 28-acre site has been completely surrounded by a burn. That work has been completed about 2 hours ago. Work continues now on digging a trench to connect a water source to the berm area that we've created around the site. A pump is already in place that will produce 400 gallons an hour to flood that site. And the City of Port St. Lucie has been working actively to connect their 36-inch main that's got reclaimed water to a water source that we can move to that site. We anticipate we'll be flowing water onto that property by end of business tomorrow, which will be about 24 hours ahead of schedule from our original intent to do that. We have reached out to the developer, who is committed now to use whatever equipment after the water is delivered to the property to spread out the material, ensure it's soaked with the water we're delivering from the City of Port St. Lucie. I do want to take a moment to thank the local delegation, the City of Port St. Lucie, the mayor and her staff, for really stepping up to the plate and making the moves necessary to facilitate this, getting the proper approvals and facilitating the DEP to approve this exercise using the reclaimed water, and really moving this ahead probably 24 to 48 hours quicker than it normally would have done. Did you want to add anything there?
Well, I think
Sure.
Representative
Thank you.
Oberdorf is, let him go first.
Thank you all for being here today. As you're aware, this has been going on for about 20 days now, and there's an innovative solution to this. And I really want to thank the City of Port St. Lucie, their Utilities Department, also St. Lucie County, and frankly, Chief Spera and his staff at the Fire District. They've done an incredible job with this bad situation. Yesterday, the delegation received a call for help and to reach out to some state resources. In doing so, they hatched an idea that would help with the delivery of over 2 million gallons of water per day onto the site. And that plan involves some permitting, some emergency permitting. So we reached out to the governor's office, the Department of Emergency Management, as well as DEP. By 10:45 this morning, there was an emergency permit that was delivered that allows for the delivery of that water to the site, and therefore the future extinguishing of this fire. It's not anticipated that this is a situation that will resolve within 24 hours. However, water should be delivered hopefully by tomorrow evening, and then the fire will be rapidly being put out over the next several days. If you do see smoke, if you do see issues over the next couple days, please understand that we're working as fast and as hard as we possibly can to make sure that this fire is out. It's a tough fire because it's underground, portions of it. There are portions of it, obviously, that are above, and every time you expose an area, then that reignites. So the Chief, Forestry Service, frankly, the St. Lucie County has done a fantastic job trying to keep this under control, and then the City of Port St. Lucie and the partners there really came up with an innovative solution. After Mayor Martin called us yesterday, Chief called me yesterday, and we started on that process. I can't thank the delegation enough. Governor DeSantis' office has been very helpful with this and working through that, as well as the DEP and Department of Emergency Management and Kevin Guthrie. So thank you all for being here today. We realize that this is a major situation for the residents affected by this, the thousands and thousands that are experiencing smoke and those types of issues around. And so we look forward to having this solution hopefully work as quickly as we possibly can. And please know that we are doing everything we can to resolve the situation. So thank you very much for that. And Senator, if you want to add anything else?
Sure. Well, thank you so very much, Representative Oberdorf. And I just want to commend the entire group that has worked so closely together. When you have the fire chief, when you have the city working together, and also the county, as well as the delegation, and reaching out to DEP and the governor's office being involved, really shows the coordination that we have here in Florida. It's a typical example of how when the community comes together and works together, we can rapidly work to solve a problem. It's not going to go away instantaneously. Patience is important. As the water gets out there and starts to work on this fire, it will happen. And I just want to encourage everybody that hope is on the way. It will be resolved actually rather quickly, given that this has been going on for some time. And I think the cooperation across the board is the key endeavor that has helped this to happen. And I want to thank you all, especially our media, for passing this out to our residents so that they know that we are working very hard on this, and that hopefully within the next few days, this situation will be under control and it will be resolved. But did you want to say anything, Mayor, Representative?
So I would just like, on behalf of the city, I would just like to thank our delegation, our fire chief who's been working on this so diligently, our entire fire district, put the call in yesterday, and here we are today, and we have a resolution. Also want to thank our utilities director, Kevin Matiajic, who let us know about the 36-inch main that can bring that reclaimed water to the site. And so, again, all of us working together has been so important, and our county partners as well, is to resolving this issue. And hopefully, in the next few days, we'll have some relief for our residents. Thank you.
So just to reiterate what everyone else has said, it's just been a great partnership between our city and county and elected officials here today and for the past several weeks. I know in my office, as well as all of you, you've gotten hundreds of phone calls regarding this matter. And the one thing I would like to add is for the concerns that we've gotten from people that believe that this debris may be treated chemically at all, it is not. So rest assured, even though that it is smoke and it is bothersome and it may be causing some health concerns, you do not have to worry about this being treated wood that is going to cause any type of chemical reaction. And I would like to thank you all for reaching out and telling us your concerns. Thank you.
I just want to thank each and every one of the people that are standing up here with you this afternoon. When you collectively do something, and it was a problem, and we had to look at it and figure out what's the best avenue. And I'm just telling you right now, we have collective minds and spirits here that they just hit the ball, hit the ground running, and it's never fast enough, but just please have patience. We're on top of it. As some of the elected officials up here said to you before, they reach out to the certain entities that need to get the ball rolling, and we are. Help is on the way. Please be patient. And again, thank you to everyone here in the room and the press for getting our message out. And that's all I have. Thank you.
If you all have a couple of questions, we may be able to answer them.
I just had a couple things I wanted to clarify. The reclaimed water that will be produced is actually going to be between 5 and 6 million gallons a day. To give you an idea of the scope of the problem, it takes about a million and a half gallons to create 1 foot of water. So we anticipate this is going to take a few days for it really to be effective for us. A fire engine on a site couldn't provide anywhere near that amount of water. So the fact that the city was able to reclaim the water, and particularly in the volumes we're talking about, that's really what's going to facilitate this. So it's going to take a while for that reservoir to kind of build itself up. In the meantime, the developer's committed that he's going to be spreading material into that water supply to start extinguishing it. It should take, I'm anticipating between 3 days and a week before we see a real appreciable change in the conditions out there.
Have you ever fought a mulch fire this way before?
I dealt with,
Anybody,
in a smaller context, yes, but not to this degree, no.
And you originally, I know when I think it was last week, you predicted it might be about a month of smoky conditions. So you think all this will speed up the cleaning up the year by what, like 2 weeks faster?
I'm hoping in a shorter fashion than that. What really changed between last week and this week, I wish our friends from the Forest Service were here. They had warned that applying water to the top of these mounds really was going to actually create a bigger problem than just kind of spreading this out. We had a few inches of rain on this fire Saturday. I was out there Friday. I came back out Monday, and sure enough, conditions were far worse. And at that point, we said, let's change our entire tactics here. Let's do something different. And again, thanks to the utilities department, said, we've got a 36-inch main about a mile away. And then we started thinking about how do we facilitate that? How do we make that work? And collectively, we were able to put this together.
You mentioned this morning when you did an interview with the media that there weren't proper fire lines throughout this acreage. If there had been more fire lines or wider fire lines, would that have made a difference, you think, in this case?
My understanding of the regulations, we don't monitor this. This is a DEP. They permit these and regulate them. There's supposed to be a far enough fire break, basically, that you can drive trucks between these piles. These are essentially compost heaps that are probably about 200 or 300 yards long, minimum. And they're supposed to be separated enough so that if a fire does break out, it remains contained to that one line. And somebody should be on site so if they see that fire break out, they can contain it. What's happened is the developer, whoever was on that site, we're not sure if it's a developer at this time or a contractor, actually infilled those lines with more debris. So creating basically just one massive span in this one particular area. There are other areas we're going to be working with the state to review on site to make sure that they're meeting the requirements of the state.
And I guess who kind of spearheads that discussion of whether something wasn't being done properly on this site, what any possible penalty might be, and just to make sure that this doesn't happen again?
We're going to be communicating with the Department of Environmental Protection. This is their purview.
Got it.
We will be doing an active, if you will, autopsy on what happened here and a full investigation as to what happened. But right now, our main concern is putting that fire out, making sure the smoke goes away, and that's where our efforts are currently focused.
Do you know how many other mulch sites there are around the city or the county that you might even be saying like, hey, everyone needs to maybe sort of make sure that you're following the proper protocol to make sure that we don't get another smoky mess like this?
We've talked with both the city and the county. We know that there are other places that are within the county. We don't know the exact number of that. However, we will be looking at which ones are permitted, and I know that there have been discussions with both the city and the county on that.
Are you all looking at the weather, the future weather, and possible lightning strikes around the area? And what do you have planned for that?
This is Florida. We could have lightning strikes right now. But I don't think there's any plan we can do.
It's like a hurricane.
God knows better than we do.
Does someone, I mean, is this regulated to the point where someone could be penalized or given a fine or a fee of sorts for not maintaining those fire lines? Like, could someone be punished for this?
So again, there's very specific regulations associated with DEP that are associated, again, with with mulch facilities. And there is a set statute that deals with the fines, deals with the penalties. So I'm sure that as part of our autopsy, we'll be looking at that, and you can be assured that DEP will also be looking at that. I know that the senator and Representative Trabulsi and I have all talked about that as far as getting some DEP personnel to really look this over.
Obviously, it doesn't sound cheap to tap into a water line, dig a mile-long trench, and flood a 28-acre property. Who's footing the cost for all of this?
I think some of that's to be determined. The developer has been incredibly cooperative at this point in time, and so I think that'll also be a part of this autopsy. I know that we talked with Chief earlier about his expenses as well as others, so we'll be obviously looking at that as well.
So safe to say, like, taxpayers are fronting the cost and will seek, or they're not?
Taxpayers are not funding the cost.
Not
The
funding the
developer is doing this, it's not the taxpayers, yes.
Any reason why DEP isn't here today, or?
We've been in touch with DEP. They authorized the permit this morning for us, and I'm not sure exactly why they aren't here today, but we've been in communication with them constantly.
And the developer being Coulter, correct? That's paying for all of this?
They're the folks that own the land. We've had good conversations with them. I had a conversation with them this afternoon, and they're doing everything they can to make sure the berm is built, the water is delivered, the trench is done, and then they'll be monitoring that as well.